Hey, everybody. Good evening. It's Ellen Lewis, the Crazy for You podcast. I'm so happy that you are here. I've been looking forward to this podcast episode for like forever. I have Kate and Courtney, the Kelbourne Woolens girls, with me tonight. And we are going to be talking about their brand new yarn, Camper, which just launched like a couple weeks ago, and we got it in every color, and it is just beautiful, and I just can't wait to share it with you. I don't know if you have been in the shop yet, but we have it all displayed. We got all the colors, and it's just the most beautiful yarn. It's a lovely fingering weight yarn. It's basically billed as Scout's little sister yarn. So it's so pretty. And I've been having a little technical difficulty with my second camera, but I did swatch it, and I'm going to show that to you. Hi, Evelyn. Thanks for joining us. Hey, Pat. It's good to have you. So so let me go ahead and bring Courtney and Kate on, and we will have some fun. Yay! Hi, ladies.
Hi.
Hi. So we have Courtney and Kate, and so you have a new yarn, and it's how does that feel? Is it like having a new baby?
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, for sure, it is. Especially, I think this one, the gestation was a little bit longer than we had originally intended. Due to the pandemic, we had to, as everyone, 2020, everything had to be adjusted and changed. So the intention was to have it released last fall, but that became impossible, pretty quickly starting last spring. So I think, being able to do it, we waited till the very last minute to have the photo shoot days before the release, which we don't do, but, people were getting vaccinated, and we wanted to be outside with the weather and safe, all that stuff. So it really feels like the beginning of something new. I don't know, Courtney, if you feel that way about it.
Definitely. I mean, it's been behind the scenes completely because no one knew that there was supposed to be new yarn in the fall, except for like maybe 10 people. But it's just been this like, how about now? What about now? Are we ready now? Is it happening now?
It's false labor.
Yeah. It was definitely like.
So how do you?
We just rolled with it.
How do you decide? It's like, I mean, obviously at some point you decide with your partner or whatever, our family isn't quite finished yet. So how do you decide you need to bring a new yarn into the line?
It's a really good question. And I think there's like a kind of old model of like doing things in the industry. I think very similar to fashion and like other stuff, that it's like you have these seasonal releases, right? Everybody expects you to have like the new yarns for fall or the new yarns for spring or like whatever. And every yarn has to come with a collection and the blah, 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 blah. And when we started Kelbourne Woolens, I think we were very intentional that we were like, we don't ever want to force it. Like we just want to make a yarn when we feel like we're either missing something or we wish we had, or wouldn't it be nice if we had something that could do this? Because I never wanted to feel like we were forcing something that like we didn't fully love, right? Like there's no point in just introducing yarns willy-nilly just because,
Or yarns because there's an obligation to that. Yeah, like there's an obligation for that, like you said, Courtney, or something that maybe already existed or something similar that existed. So we want to fill holes within the Kelbourne line itself, but also maybe something we haven't seen before, or maybe something that we would want and was like a missing piece. And Camper specifically, as you said, Ellen, it's like Scout's little sister. So Scout is a DK weight, it's 276 yards per 100 gram skein, and camper is 200 yards per 50 gram skein. So it'd be 400 yards per 100 gram if you want that comparison. So
Right.
The yarn is thinner. And so Scout, from its release in 2018, has been one of our most popular yarns in the Kelbourne line. It's just super classic. You know, it fills a lot of needs, but you know, so when we were thinking about adding to the Kelbourne line, we were like, well, if it ain't broke, but also what's missing, because we really love DK, we love sport weight. We have that pretty well covered. We had the last yarn we introduced prior to camper was Lucky, which is a really solid Aran weight at 4 stitches to the inch. And we do have a light fingering perennial, but
it's very fine.
That's a really different fiber than camper.
It's different plies, different fiber content, different color, different everything. So, you know, camper both fills a hole in the line where we were missing like a nice workhorse fingering. And we were hoping, and it seems to be the case so far, that people, you know, due to the love of Scout, you know, campers does something for them that Scout maybe couldn't do.
Well, I think you guys are such big stranded, you know, you do so much with the color work, and you can do it in Scout, but it's heavy, you know, particularly for anybody who's not in the, you know, in the North. So for me in Maryland, I'm never going to wear a DK weight stranded sweater. It's just too hot. And I run cold. So this, it seems to me like it's such a beautiful fit with your design aesthetic and, you know, the weight of it and all of that to me.
Yeah. And for the collection with camper, we intentionally did all color work because we really wanted to focus on both the stitch definition, because it has such a nice hand and such clear stitches, and also the color palette being what it is. And we think it's really cohesive and really fills the range, and to really play up on that, because fingering weight and finer weight is more traditionally used for stranded color work in Fair Isle. So we really wanted to showcase those qualities of it and show that it is a little different than Scout in that regard.
It feels different than Scout. It looks different than Scout. But, you know, so I sort of think about some of the other offerings in the market. I'm not going to like go into names, but there are other fingering weight non-sock yarns, you know, but I think what I like about this one in particular is that it's strong. You know, this is a solid worsted spun. Yeah. You know, so it's still light because of the weight, but it's strong. It doesn't feel itchy. It's smooth, but it's not perennial. You know, it's not. Yeah.
It's not a merino, so it does have a little bit more of a tooth to it, but it's not super rough. It's not like.
It's still a very soft yarn, and like you said, it's worsted spun, so all the fibers are combed, which does add strength, and it gives it that luster and smooth like quality. So you really can wear it like next to your skin and feel, you know, like you're not like.
I normally would have a camera here. It's not my camera. Remember, we had a little issue at the desk, but I will post afterward a picture, see if I can't get this working later on. But it really is beautiful, and it's a 2-ply. How did you decide to go? You know, how do you choose? I mean, when you go to the mill, there must be a million options available for you. You know, what kind of ply? How, you know? So how do you decide? What made you choose 2-ply versus a 3-ply, which is traditional?
I like the 2-ply because Kate will probably have a different answer. I find that especially with a worsted spun yarn, the more plies you have, the rounder the strand becomes.
Mhm.
So when you do color work, it doesn't lay quite as nicely. Always has a little like too much of a valley between each stitch, which creates like a shadow or, you know, or whatever. It just doesn't look as smooth to my eye. So a 2-ply kind of gives it a flatter look, I think, especially when you're working with color work. I don't know. That's my take.
Yeah, I think a 3-ply, it almost verges on the edge of like a ropey look. Like
It's very balanced.
yeah, so the 2-ply is super balanced, and I mean it's pretty classic. And Scout was a 2-ply, so it just made sense when we were doing sampling. We were like, just make Scout, but make it thinner.
Right. Keep it simple.
It does have, the 2-ply does have just the tiniest texture.
Yeah. And so, and I think it's nice, you know, a single ply for a fingering weight, something like this, I think it would just turn to mush and fall apart. Like, so the plying definitely adds strength, but it still has a little bit of a softness. It doesn't verge on like the ropey or the cable look.
Yeah.
So when you were designing the yarn, you must have already had sort of in your head kind of a collection, or did you design the yarn first and the collection second?
I think it's always the yarn, right?
Yeah, the yarn comes first. I mean, I'm sure because we're both designers and because we've both been knitting for so long, like we already know what kinds of things we like to make with certain kinds of yarns, but none of it is like storyboarded ahead of time, really. I think the yarn always comes first, and then we get it, and you start swatching and putting your thoughts into you know, something tangible and figuring out like what works and what doesn't. I do think we knew from the get-go that this was going to be a color work collection.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I have a bunch of swatches. I flew to California the last weekend in February in 2020. The last time I left my house. The whole way there and the whole way back, I swatched. So I have like tubes of color work. So I think pretty clearly on, and that was like right when we got the yarn, and we were like, we got to get this done. We got to get this out. So right from the beginning with this, we knew color work. I think with other things in the past, we always have like a vague idea, you know, like some direction in terms of design and style, but we really just, we allow ourselves the freedom, I think, to both change our minds and do something different if things aren't working, which in some respects means we're a little like, what is this? What are you doing? But
that's okay.
Yeah, in the long run, it works better, I think.
You know what I'd like to do is, first of all, I want to ask the audience whether they have any questions for you guys or me or about the yarn or anything else. And I want to bring up all of the designs for the collection. Yeah. And maybe you guys could walk us through.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let's do that. Bring those up. And share my screen. Hang on just a second. All right. Okay, so this first one is a little hat.
Yeah. So this is Selbu Modern 2.0, and this is actually a really good example of what I was just talking about, where after we postponed the release of the yarn, we still had sample skeins. And I designed a hat when Courtney and I worked at a yarn shop together here in Philadelphia, when berets were like the only thing that people knit. I think this was 2006, maybe 2007. And it was called Selbu Modern. And the motif was based on a knit wall hanging, actually, that my now husband got for me on a trip to Norway, maybe.
That would make sense.
Years ago. And so that's where I got the motif, and I called it Selbu Modern, and it was this little beret. And I always wanted to re-knit it in a more like traditional slouchy hat, and never had the right yarn, and camper was it. So I just knit this for fun, and then was like, oh yeah, it's going in the collection. So this was like a last minute addition. And it's a really nice introduction to color work. It's just a regular cast on brim. And then the motif is both a mirror image and repeats. So it's good to memorize. There are some places where you tack. So it's good for practicing, consistency, and just nice little 2 colors, 1 skein each. So it's a nice little project.
It's really pretty. And then, so I remember there being some kind of issue with the photo shoot.
Yeah.
Maybe not for this one, but
for the first time ever, and we can't figure this out because nobody's doing anything, the model double booked herself. Like, I guess the 2 shoots she's had this year, she booked them on the same day. And because the agency was working remotely, we work with someone in the agency, and then this other company worked with someone else. So the model told the separate people that she was available, and then they didn't communicate. Why would they have to? The model makes her schedule. So we were waiting at the shoot, and she like didn't show up, and she didn't show up, and I called, and turned out she had double booked. So Lynette, our photographer, who's like a stunning woman, just was like, I'm going to do it.
Is this her?
This is not her. She stepped in and stepped up, and it's her and her husband do the photography. So he shot her, and it was really great. But then she wasn't super happy with the pictures. I don't think it was like
we totally thought that it was because, like, initially she was like, we got to redo the shoot. And we were like, no, you're beautiful. Like, blah, blah, blah.
She is.
No, it's because she was too critical of her husband's shots. Like, they weren't right. They weren't perfect.
So Lynette,
I love it.
She worked for us for a couple years, and then started this photography, like she and her husband met photography schools. Like, she does like all of our, or did before the pandemic, all of our product shots. She's done our model shots for, I think maybe 10 collections. And we have a really good relationship, and she really understands it, and she's a knitter. So she understands like what needs to be in the photo. It's a different photo than taking like
absolutely. It's not a glamour shot.
Yeah. So these ones actually Lynette took that day. So that's why they look a little different. So yeah, they just didn't have the look. So then we had to reshoot 2 weeks later with a new model who was awesome, Allison.
It all worked out.
So this is a little kid sweater.
Yeah. So this is my daughter, Charlotte.
Aww.
So we didn't make her reshoot.
Oh, gracious.
I pulled her out of virtual school for this, so I wasn't going to do it again. But so this is Baxter Peak, and this is the kids version. I knit a sweater for the Scout collection called Rainier. And so this is
okay.
The kids version of Rainier.
Right. She's adorable, by the way.
She did good. I am not good in front of a camera, and she did very well. She really, and then was like, so the sweater's mine. And I was like, oh, yeah. So I had to get it re-knit for the trunk show because she took the sweater as her payment.
Very cute.
So bottom up, small motifs. It's like Seda's doll inspired. So small repeating motifs. there's short rows that raise the back, and then the decreases are integrated into the yoke, and then a little ribbing. So it's like super nice, basic kids pullover.
It's really cute.
Thanks.
All right.
So this is Laurel Hill. So this is actually the hat that I was sampling. Oops, on the way to California, and then I picked it back up again. So this is it has my favorite thing ever. It takes me a lot to not do it. Is a provisional cast on folded brim. It's just the best.
Is that a tubular cast on or?
No, you do a provisional cast on and then you knit.
Oh, I see.
Until you want to collapse.
And then you fold it up. Okay.
Yeah, and then fold it up. And then this actually has 4 colors in it. I think you guys.
Yes, we do.
You have a sample, yeah, with different colors, which I think is
yes.
Cool to see. So
with the mint and the gray.
Yeah, with the mint.
Jenny's been working on that.
So it's actually, you can see it's like a little plus and then the little like diamond pattern, and that's repeated. And the thing I'm most proud with this design is the integrated decreases at the crown are, hopefully you can see them in one of the photos. And a little bit there. Yeah, I think maybe, is that it? I should upload another picture. So yeah, it's like a cool little.
Nice job. That's important. I mean, that's such a nice little touch that makes something so much more professional. I think the designs that have a clean decrease line at the crown look so much nicer.
I think I reknit those 20 rows like 20 times.
It's always the worst. It's the worst.
Yeah.
You know, that last little bit. You know what they say, the 80-20 rule, right? The first 80 is no big deal. That last 20 takes like 80% of your effort.
Forever. Yeah.
Yeah. Cute. So that's nice. And that takes, you can do it in 2 colors or 4 colors, or this is a 4-color. Yeah, because you have the pale green and then there's like that little orchid.
I think you could do it in 2. That'd be a fun thing to try and figure out.
Yeah. Cute. Okay. I love this.
Oh, yeah.
So is this our model that we actually?
So this is the model Allison so she modeled, and she was great. She was super cool. We actually did this shoot outside at a park near my house, and we like shoved her into the woods, and she was totally cool, really great. So this is just a super classic, like Icelandic inspired lopa pesa. So, all the color work is featured in the yoke. And this one actually, again, now maybe a decade ago, Courtney and I wrote a book called Vintage Modern Knits. And it was all like traditional techniques with like a more, modern contemporary twist, which is kind of our thing. And there was a sweater called Adelaide, but it was Aran weight. It was like a much heavier sweater, and I wanted to recreate it in the fingering weight. So that was the jumping off point for this, even as far as like the colors and stuff.
This is a great palette with the mustard and the orchid and the navy.
It's very different than I typically do, as you guys probably all saw. The previous things are all like gray and blue.
Very outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah, but I love it.
The colors are stunning.
Yeah, I would totally love it. If I didn't have to reknit a fingering weight sweater, I would knit it again for myself. But the deadline on this one was a little tight, so.
It's cute. I mean, you would definitely traditionally see that with the Norwegian colors, the blue and the white.
Yeah.
And it would be very, but that really gives it, the color palette gives it such a modern effect.
Yeah. And with her red hair, it really worked out.
It's perfect. Yeah, it's really cute. And that is bottom up in the round?
Bottom up in the round. Yeah. Pretty much exact same construction as the Baxter Peak.
Okay. Cute. She seems like a real sweet girl. Like she'd be a lot of fun to be with.
She was amazing. She was great. And she was young too. We didn't know.
How old is she?
I think maybe she was like 20.
Huh.
She was much younger than I thought she was. By the end of the day, we were like, wait, what?
All those models are like 12, you know?
Yeah,
a lot
no,
of them
but
on the
she
runway.
was so cool. She was super, super cool.
My son, who just graduated from high school last year, he's in his first year of college. He showed me this picture on his phone. He goes, "Look, Mom, look at this girl. She's a model." I'm like, "Yeah, she looks like a model." He goes, "She goes to my high school." She was all made up. It's like, wow, she's like not even 18 yet, and she's walking the runways. So they get them young.
Yeah, they do.
All right, talk about this for me. Corrugated ribbing.
This one is mine. So this is a scarf and hat sort of set based on the iconic Prince of Wales vest. Yeah, so similar like pattern repeats and the little zigzag and peries broken up with these really traditional like Fair Isle bands of patterning. Yeah, it's
So
the scarf. I don't know if there's a picture of the bottom, but
so,
it's knit in a tube. So you start with corrugated ribbing in the round. It almost is like you're making a hat, but you slip one stitch at the beginning and at the center on every other round, and that creates the place that makes it sort of fold.
Yep,
and then
beautiful.
Sorry, Courtney, you can kind of see that in the image right there. See that like crease? I'm pointing at the screen, like you guys can see my hand, but
I know I'm sort of. You can see my cursor.
I'm moving your cursor, but you can see that fold there. That's what Courtney said.
It's one of my favorite ways to knit a scarf. One, because I love color work, and because then the right side is always the right side. You don't ever have a wrong side, which is really nice. Even in texture patterns is really nice. And they're doubly warm, which is what you want in a scarf.
But when you have that slip stitch edge, that really gives it the structure. You know, it makes it so much nicer. Otherwise, it's not going to lie flat. It's not going to be as clean to wear.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
I love the little details that you guys put into stuff. It's fabulous. Isn't she cute?
Oh, she's so great.
Yeah. Yeah, that looks really cool.
You always have to make a hat. I don't know. I make a hat for like every project that I knit. I use a hat to make a swatch.
It's a swatch.
Right. So I was like, well, then there has to also be a hat because otherwise, you know.
Okay. So we get some, these are cool.
So Moreau Lake. So these mittens, my brother and sister-in-law went to Peru for their honeymoon and brought me, or I guess my husband too, but mostly me, back. Let's be real. A really beautiful, beautiful hand-woven textile. And I have it hanging like downstairs in our back room, like the TV room. So whenever I'm sitting and watching TV and knitting, I can kind of see it out of the corner of my eye. And the center of it has a diamond motif. And, you know, it's really easy to translate weaving to color work because of like the grid pattern. So I just kept looking at it and then just was messing around and use that center diamond as the inspiration to make the motif on these mittens. And they start with a Vickel braid, which is, you can see that little like zigger-zagger.
Yep, the Latvian braid.
Yeah, it's a really nice way to anchor something without doing like a ribbing or a garter edge or a folded cuff. You can just jump right into the color work. And it's just like a nice little fun technique. And then these have a cool thumb where you actually increase. So a lot of like traditional color work mittens, you just like, you know, either put stitches on holders or cast off and then cast on. But, you know, we have these little like chicken legs here. So to make the mitten fit better, if you do some increases here on the palm, it creates a really nice shape while still working in the round with the color work.
So not the gusset, but someplace else.
Yeah, it's not, and it's not on the side because I don't walk around like this. So,
You don't?
no, I do a lot of weird things with my hands, but so
but it's placed like where you would want it to
where
be,
you
which
want
is like,
I love that.
Yeah, so it's a nice little technique, and then the palm and the thumbs are just that vertical. It's a little bit of a break after you do the intricate.
Yes, see here.
Yeah, so you can see. Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
So
I see. Mm-hmm.
So though that blue line are increasing a couple stitches over from the side seam.
Oh, I love that.
And
Those look like they'd be comfortable to wear.
Yeah, they are. They kind of fit your hand. And let me tell you guys, styling and photographing mittens.
in March, April.
Impossible. It's like, because you have to show the mitten, but it's like, well, she has to be wearing clothes because why else would she have mittens on? It's always like
always hard. We always end up with these people going.
Yeah, so that's why she's like doing this thing. She really though, Lynette was really good with her. They really went to town on this. She was like, do this,
I think it looks great.
Yeah, they came out great.
That's the industry secret right there for you. It is not easy.
We won't repeat it.
Yeah,
I think I love the Peruvian. I sort of feel like, Mary would have to answer on this. Her daughter-in-law's Peruvian, but I sort of feel like that diamond has some cultural significance.
Oh, I should have looked into that.
Not in a bad way, in a good way.
Maybe. Yeah. I should look into it though.
Yeah.
If you're gonna be inspired by something, you want to know the
I guess I'm just thinking about, like the God's eye kind of things and that's sort of
true. Yeah.
So I don't know. I wonder. It's just a thought.
No, it's true. I should.
They're beautiful. They are so beautiful. And they are very different color work. Do you know what I mean? Very non-traditional, really, which I love.
Yeah. And I think not, because it's not thanks, Mary. It's not a repeating motif. It's just like an all over pattern. So
the chart for it is the whole mitten.
Yeah. Yeah. The whole mitten is the chart basically.
What size needle are we on?
2.
Okay. It's doable. I knit my swatch on 4s.
Yeah. Needle size doesn't matter. Gauge.
I know. I'm just saying.
But it is versatile. I like that about
it is. And the accessories are knit at 30 stitches to 4 inches possibly. And the sweaters are knit at 28. I may be wrong about that, but the sweaters are knit on 1 needle size up and are knit ever so slightly looser. And the accessories are knit a little denser because you want a denser hat. You want a denser mittens.
Yeah.
But the sweaters can be a little.
So I have about 7, 6.5, 6.5, 7 on my 4s for just this little bit.
Yeah, I have a swatch where it's 26, like 24 stitches to 4 inches, and it's beautiful fabric.
Yeah.
So if you weren't doing color work or if you were doing something else with it is a nice.
No, it's beautiful. And we're talking about the fact that it has a little bit of a tooth. You do need that. Do you guys know what we mean when we talk about that? A little bit of a tooth. It's not so silky soft that the fibers are going to slide against each other. When it has a little bit of a tooth, it means that there's a little bit of a grippy characteristic to the yarn, so that when you're doing that color work, if you needed to stick it or anything, it wouldn't fall apart. You know how like cottons will maybe do that? The stitches don't kind of grow together.
Yeah.
They don't get to be good friends with each other.
And when you block it, like it'll bloom, and which means that when the liquid enters the fibers, it causes them to kind of expand. And then when they go back into shape, that's why things, when they're blocked, it just looks like smoother and flatter because they kind of fit in.
Yep. All of the unevenness evens out, which is beautiful. All right. And the last one that we had.
That was actually a beautiful segue, Ellen, into this sweater because.
I planned it. Not. Okay.
Cumberland Falls. This sweater, you guys, I designed and knit this sweater, and the whole time I was like, this is nuts. This thing is bonkers.
Why?
It's completely bonkers. It's a lot of colors. I think 11 colors.
I think there's the main color and 11 contrast colors.
11 contrast colors.
Maybe 10.
And no, but this was my personal challenge to myself. No neutrals. No gray, no white, no black, no
It's
tan.
navy. It has navy.
No naturals.
I know navy's the neutral.
Only colors.
But it doesn't look garish at all because the colors that are in the palette of Camper are not garish. I mean, even the gold, and I'm not a lover of gold, even the gold is really beautiful.
Yeah, it's interesting too if you look at the individual motifs, like if you just look at a zig and then its lower motif, it's like this is not working. But then as a whole, it totally works.
There were definitely times in knitting this, it's a top-down raglan for starters. It is
Not your favorite.
It's not always my favorite. It's just really hard to flip your brain upside. It's like flipping your brain upside down, right? So when Kate and I were talking about the pattern and the design, I kept saying, and then you work the decreases every other blood. She's like, increases. And I'm like, yeah, whatever.
The shaping.
Yeah, the shaping.
And then she would do it too. And she was like, well, when you cast on for the sleeve. And I was like, no, cast off. You have to cast off for the sleeve.
So did you knit this in the round and steek it?
Yes.
Yes,
Alrighty.
it is knit in the round. The increases for the raglans are only worked in the solid navy blue sections. So the bands of color work, you never have to think or count or worry about increasing or changing anything. You just work all your increases in the middle parts.
You are a good soul.
And it works when it's not blocked. You do it is a little like, but it blocks out completely fine. It's totally fine. Have a little faith.
It's really cute.
But it was just fun. And it was like the first couple bands, I was like, oh, this looks great. And then I got the yellow and the strand. And I was like, this is awful. What have I done? And then I kept going and I got the next one and I was like, no, this works. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. But every step of the way, I was just like, what am I doing?
And then there was a point that I was like, there's no going back. You have to finish the sweater.
At a certain point, it was like, well, I'm just in it now.
Yeah,
and I got
too much in.
Yeah.
Keep going.
It's awesome.
So I have not looked at the Ravelry stats on stuff. What has been the most popular of the garments?
I haven't either. Have you?
Oh, okay. Oh, it's okay. I thought maybe you would, obsessive compulsively check
There
your social
were-
media
No,
equivalents.
I can't do that to myself.
Yeah.
I can't. And I think too.
Well, for local yarn store day, we offered a promotion. And so this I do know because I did look at these numbers very cursorily, where shops got a coupon codes.
Yep.
If people bought Camper, they could get a free download. And this was the most downloaded pattern.
This one was?
For local yarn store day.
Good for you.
Yeah, but I was like, I guess that makes sense. If you're getting a free pattern and you weren't totally sure that you were going to go here, if it's free, that's fine.
Yeah, go for it. They're like, how did they do this Bonko sweater?
So in the construction, real quick, I'm going to ask you, did you leave an extra 6 stitches in the center for the cutting?
Yeah, you knit the ribbing back and forth to start, and then you cast on the steek stitches.
Yeah, and then you cut down, pick up stitches along either side, and knit a folded button band, so then it covers the cut stitches.
But there's no extra stitches and no cutting at the ribbing. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
Because that makes it bulky, and then it sometimes makes the button band flare.
So the button band does not extend down to the ribbing, or
it does. It does. But there's
do you pick
no
up and knit, or do you
bulk.
seam a button band? I'm sorry to ask so many questions.
That's okay. You pick up and knit the button band. You pick up this way and knit the button band back and forth. Is that right?
Okay. So it's like, yeah, it's hard to tell from the. Okay, I see. So it's a rib.
Yeah.
Yep, got it.
Rib, yep, yeah.
Is it pretty? What do you guys think? Do you love it?
At the bottom,
I love it.
you bind off.
I love it now.
Deep stitches.
Yes, I see what you're saying.
We have a really good video tutorial.
Fun.
Yeah.
Ready to go. It just needs the audio. So hopefully we'll have that up soon.
So I think that's really cute. I know a lot of people are excited about, the idea of sticking, equally excited and terrified.
Yeah.
So
it's just so permanent.
Well, yeah. It's not like your hair that's going to grow back. It's like you're done.
Yeah, but
there's really very little you could do to truly muck it up. Right? Like you have, unless you accidentally cut through the back.
Oh God.
Oh, don't even say
like
that.
Laid it flat and just cut the whole thing.
No, you'd have to put don't you put a cardboard or something there?
I mean, you just cut it on the cut line. Don't cut the sleeve off. That's all.
Baxter Peak for adults. Yeah, there's a sweater knit and scout. It's called Rainier.
Yeah, we had that at the trunk show, Jenna. Did you see that? It's so cute. It was in blue and white, but you could do it in whatever you want. So I love that. Oh my gosh. Well, this is fun. And I had pulled a few patterns that I thought were really cute because I'll just show you those.
If you didn't want to do color work, or if there was something else.
Right. Hang on just a second. Take this out. It'll just be us. All right. I'm sure I can find this soon.
It's always fun to do pattern.
Right.
What would I do? What would I make? What would I make with this? What would work with this?
Yeah. So some of these, I love Julie Hoover.
Oh,
I love her stuff so much. And I just thought this was so pretty. This takes a fingering weight yarn. This is called Hayward. I just think that's so elegant and clean. And, that little bit of texture that Camper has, I think would be just beautiful in this. I think that's a really pretty design, kind of, Audrey Hepburn sort of looking.
Yeah, it's really pretty.
And
it's nice too, because the lighter weight of Camper with that, short sleeve.
Yes, I thought that was pretty. This could be a really 3-season garment. You're not going to wear it in the middle of summer, but you could definitely wear that a lot. And then, of course, Hohi's Easy One. Everybody loves that. Not that. What is this? Okay, I love this too. Because of the color palette in in Camper, you could pick some really fun, fun colors, I think, for this.
That'd be really cute.
So I thought that might be fun. Of course, this is very pretty.
Sweater. Oh, yeah.
So very nice. Anyway, and I thought this was pretty. Woodford's. This has a really interesting construction.
Oh, yeah. Does it? Yeah. That's really pretty.
So I think that's nice. I mean, I pulled a lot. We won't have time to go through all of them. But I like this. That little bit of color work at the bottom. Is that fun?
Nice.
Yeah.
And this, of course, I think is cute.
Oh, yeah. You could do really fun stuff with the colors with that.
Yes. And that's why it's so nice that there are so many different colors in Camper. I think there's just beautiful. But
and some really wacky bright ones. Give it like a totally different look.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I thought that was cute.
I love that deep ribbing on the sleeves.
That's pretty. Yep. This I like. It's like a little bit of brioche at the top.
Yeah.
Kind of fun. It's fun to knit. That would be fun to knit and fun to wear. Here's another Julie Hoover.
Ooh.
Yeah. And when you've got a yarn as light as this, guys, you can get away with this amount of cabling, and it's not
doesn't make it heavy.
Exactly. So I thought that was pretty. Here's another one, Julie Hoover. I love Julie Hoover. Can you tell? Sort of a fangirl of Julie Hoover. Isn't that pretty?
That's really pretty.
That's very classic.
Yeah.
And she does like all of her little construction details and
yes.
There's nothing that she does for no reason. It's like four double negatives, but everything has like a point. The way, how she chooses her construction and how she does it is always
exactly.
Really cool stitch.
Yeah, what is that stitch?
It looks like a linen stitch.
I think it's just reverse stockinette.
It might be. Double seed.
Oh. Huh.
Ooh.
Very cute. So, isn't that?
Oh, that's great.
I love that.
Yeah, and I think that would really showcase the texture of Camper. And again, I agree with you about the detailing in her work.
Mm-hmm.
And again, with the stripes, because the color palette of Camper is so good.
Yeah.
I like that.
Ooh,
I love
that's
this.
really cool.
Isn't that
I don't think I've
nice?
ever seen this sweater.
Oh, yeah.
I like that.
That one's really, and the reverse stockinette.
Isn't that fun? Don't you think this would fit really nicely?
Yeah.
And, lie really nicely on your, look at that.
Oh, that's cool. He always does crazy stuff with like shaping and ribbing and movement.
This is not really me, but I think it's pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. All right. And then the Weekender Light. Everybody is familiar with that already. And then I love Anka Strick.
Oh, yeah. That's a cool stitch.
What
is it color work?
Happening?
I don't think so. Oh,
no, I think it is.
It is.
Yeah, it is. Look at that.
That's cool.
That's kind of different. Yeah, very fun.
Very
and
cool.
then Hoagie again. I like this one a lot. This one is sort of like the other one, but it's less fiddly.
Right. That's very pretty.
Yeah.
God, there's just not enough time to knit all the beautiful sweaters in the world.
I know. This is the last one. I'll show you. I thought that was pretty.
Oh, yeah. That
and that yellow that you guys have?
Yeah.
So, oh my goodness. So lots and lots of things to knit. I am so grateful you guys could join me tonight.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming. And it's been really fun. And thank you guys for being here. I will put, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll link all of the garments that I think would be really cute in Camper. And I'll put them on in a Ravelry bundle so that you can find those on and then I'll put a link to it. But did you want to share any news with anybody, Courtney, or we just no? Okay. Okay. What?
No, I just said stand up.
So
maybe
Camper is not the only addition.
Yeah, Camper is not the only thing Courtney's been working on this past year. Let me tell you,
guys. I was real out of sorts knitting that sweater.
Well, you know what I have to say about that, Courtney? You guys did not stay 6 feet apart.
No.
There was no social distancing.
No. But is it okay in your household? You can.
I'm just teasing.
Maybe that would have saved you, Courtney. Maybe you need to follow full social distancing.
Yeah.
That would have been bad.
Honestly.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, enough of that. So you guys, you need to go to the website and you need to buy camper and pick a beautiful pattern and let me know what you're doing and we will work on that together. So again, thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys
so
for
much.
coming and thank you for this beautiful yarn. And we will see
Thank
you again soon.
Yeah, we'll
All right.
talk soon.
Thanks.
Have an awesome night.
All right. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.